Yeah,
Juan,
no, thank you.
Kerry.
I have a couple of slides, I think, but I don't have any.
Do you have the...
Yeah, okay, that's
You need
great.
this?
You will help me? Ah, sorry.
Whoops.
Oh, sorry, thanks. So, look, we heard a lot about some of the issues, etc. I'm not going to repeat myself. Most of my speech was written around topics that have already been covered. So I'm now going to improvise, and I hope it will be okay at 5 p.m. Right? I will focus on solutions, and I'll give you 3 examples. So if you don't know Kerry, Kerry is a Irish corporation, around 9 billion in revenues. Half of that is in the US, UK, and Ireland, and then the rest of the world is quite balanced. And I joined this company 7 years back. I met the future CEO, and he wanted to totally transform the company. He said, hey, we're part of the problem. There's a lot of bad food out there, and we want to help transform to good food. So Kerry does ingredients. At that time, it was an ingredients company that sold to the big FMCGs and food service brands, etc. Right? And he said, can you help me? And I said, yeah. What we need to do is change the mindset from selling products to selling impact. Okay? So let's start from the end. What's the impact we need to drive, right? So I'm going to, and you start from the definition. You can go to SDGs. FAO is more relevant in food for us. So we can do three things really. SDG 2, SDG 3, SDG 12. I'm not going to explain them here. I don't have the time. But it's around nutrition and the environment, right? So there are really 3 things that are having really scale in the food industry. One is the basis. Degenerative agriculture doesn't work anymore. So let's move to regenerative. I don't care about the definition. Just let's make it better. Right? We spend too much time discussing about definitions. It's about impact. So 70% water, 30% greenhouse gas, etc. Right? So we said, okay, where is our impact? Out of the 9 billion, about 1 billion and something is in dairy. We were founded 50 years ago as a cooperative by 3 guys in Ireland that have grown through organic growth and 200 acquisitions into a 9 billion corporation. And dairy was good then, and now it's bad, right? Well, it's not that bad, but for us, it's 10% of our revenue, but it's 40% of our carbon. Okay, what can we do about that? Now, it's the lowest profitable business in the portfolio. So how do you invest back into that, right? So CEO, very courageous, maybe a crazy guy like me helping him, we said, okay, let's try to prove the fact that if we invest into sustainable, we can make it more profitable and reinvest more and gain there. So long story short, we are the lowest carbon dairy producer in the world today, 5 years later, and we have people queuing up to buy our dairy products. Now, it took a number of things to happen. So if you want to read that, it's public. We've made it public. It's called Kerry Dairy Evolve. You can Google it, you can read it. So we started in 21, 22, 23. Next year we'll launch 24. We're paying the farmers to adopt 10 best practices, proven, that work. We measure the footprints. So our liter of milk is 0.91 kilos of CO2 per liter of milk. And I can introduce you to every individual farmer, and he knows his score. We have guys who are at 0.75 already. So we know we can decrease 20%. We have already, out of 3,000 farmers, we have 200 farmers who are about 0.8. We also have guys at 1.2, right? European average, anybody knows the number? 1.5. US, 1.8. Global average, 2.5. So if it was possible to produce milk, like in Ireland, everywhere in the world, dairy, 2/3 of footprint gone. It's not possible. But there are learnings on how to do that, right? So it's a mix of technology, animal selection, and best practices. It's very difficult. Methane is 50% of the problem. That's complicated. But some cows emit less methane than others. Let's select the best ones. Nutrition helps them. Microbiome helps. So let's work on that. Second, fertilizers, 25% of the problem. Let's get rid of them if we can, totally. Third one is manure. That could be an interesting input into something else. The rest is small. Even the electricity, right? So the big three things is 80, 90% of the problem. That's what we're working on, right? Okay, so that's one example of what to work, focusing on impact. Now, when we started with that, all our guys said it will never work, that the farmers will adopt that. And nobody will ever buy it. That's what we heard. So what's the biggest barrier here? Come on, guys. I know it's 5 p.m. Give me some help. Is technology? Money? Somebody?
Behavior.
Mindset.
Yeah.
Consumer, always.
Mindset. Somebody needs to jump in the pool and just go swimming, right? It's cold, but... So that was the lesson we learned. And now we're replicating that across many other areas, right? But the mindset is easy to replicate. Afterwards, more complicated. Different crops. We buy the top 10 crops in the world, we buy them, right? So it's really complicated because coffee, cocoa, soy, palm, you know, they're all different. So second, so regenerative agriculture everywhere, we have a commitment to be 100% responsibly sourcing all our raw materials. We buy all the key raw materials, I should say, which is 90% of those. And Pareto helps, right? 20% of these represent 80, 90% of the footprint, so let's work on those. Eliminate food waste. Why? We heard the numbers, the statistics. Again, here is, we said, we looked at the abatement curve for food waste, like for carbon, right? So what's the cheapest way to reduce food waste? Number one is reduce it. How do we drive reduction? It's behavior. Okay, what happens if we extend shelf life? And consumers think shelf life extension, ooh, bad chemicals, not healthy. Okay, can we make it in a healthy way? Okay, propionic acid. We are big in processed food, bread, meat. These two top categories in processed food, right? Bread is the highest volume, up to 50% food waste. Meat is the highest value. In terms of 1 kilo of meat is 17,000 liters of water and 60 kilos of CO2, right? So it's the highest value for the planet. So can we help that? And we can. We have made consumer research. If you explain to consumers that the choice is to reduce food waste, they're interested. Up to 50% of consumers want to reduce food waste if you explain it to them in a way. So we created a food waste calculator that you can use. It's food waste estimator Kerry. You can go there, you put your consumption there, and you say, okay, what does shelf life extension do to my own individual footprint, right? And we use that to educate communities, people, etc. You can do it for a company as well, right? Now, food waste, shelf life is the best one. Then what you can do is you can redistribute, right? So there are digital. I had an interesting conversation with somebody here. I will not name him because I don't know if he wants me to share that. But digitalization, creating markets, right? For at the end, close to the shelf life, you can redistribute that stuff. Food Cloud or Too Good To Go are two examples. Very interesting one. The next thing you can do is repurpose. Let's face it, if I take a dairy example, we used to produce cheese, and whey was a byproduct that was a waste byproduct going to the pigs. Today is the reverse. Whey is the high value that goes for high value proteins to athletes, and cheese is the byproduct. That's a mindset, right? So you can do all of that. Beer, you produce beer. There is the spent grain that's left behind is full of vitamins, fibers, proteins, etc. So we're looking at repurposing stuff, upcycling, right? And again, if you explain to the consumers, they buy. There's an interesting phenomenon in the US. There's an upcycle logo coming out there. It's growing super fast in terms of people wanting to buy upcycled foods, right? So you can do that on old value chains and technologies like beer or meat, etc. Who knows Cocus here? Yeah, okay. You take spent meat and you create a digital bio ink that you do 3D printing of a chuletón. Who knows what chuletón is? Is a T-bone, right? It's incredible, right? So we're working with companies like that to repurpose byproducts and turn them, they're not waste, they're byproducts, right? And repurpose into something. And then last but not least, then you can do other stuff, right? Which is, and I love packaging, smart packaging. I don't know where the lady is. She's going to kill me, right? but yeah, it's fantastic for high value products. It's great for fresh food, but it doesn't work in many other areas, right? Try Africa and India, etc. It won't work, right? And the problem is we want to go to a lot more consumers, right? So I'll finish on this. I'm not killing you solution. I want to work with you on how we make it at scale. But what I'm talking about food waste is about optimizing food safety, optimizing shelf life, optimizing cost, and minimizing packaging ideally, because it's resources, right? That equation is super complex. So we need to work and partner. So what we've decided to do is try to define, this is our own SDGs. Every one of these bubbles is an impact. And every product we have in the portfolio, so it's 25,000 of those, we're calculating the contribution to reducing, for instance, sugar, salt, and fat. So 90% of our portfolio contributes to a green or yellow label under a UK traffic light nutritional system. We looked at 43 nutritional systems. We chose the UK traffic light because it's the toughest. Now, the UK doesn't use it, but that's a pity. But theoretically, it's the best one. So 90% of that contributes to lower sugar, low fat. We're doing the same for carbon. So everything we do is lowering the solutions at the product solution level and doing digital LCAs and nutritional studies so that our customers can reformulate in a more effective way, right? So it's about saving the planet one meal, one drink at a time, right, for billions of people. And it's not about Kerry advertising. I wish more people would go there and ask about the impact, right, and measure everything based on science of taste, science of nutrition, science of the environment, and science of economics, right? Because in the end, it needs to be affordable. Now, look, if you want to, the food estimator, if you scan that stuff, will bring you directly to the website where you can play. And we also share a lot of research. We've done this consumer research on food waste. There's a Kerry Health and Nutrition Institute, which we also created. So if you Google sustainable nutrition, we probably show up as number 2 or number 3. It's not us, it's the scientists that are working with us to help sustainable nutrition to the world. So anybody that wants to collaborate there, it's an open platform, which I'm happy to share with you guys. And okay, that's it.
Thank you.